Sam K, and I am back with another April Fooled You, and I have something really, really simple this time, and I say that every time, you guys, but this one is true. I actually chose not to do all 7 of my pieces, and I want to keep these a little bit on the simple side rather than, you know, I added so much stuff to it that it becomes this cluster like yay big, okay? So, of my mini paper pads, I have here, blah, blah, blah. I have scraps too. I picked out 3 pieces, but multiples of each one. So I've got two little green pieces, some wood grain, and this gorgeous poppy one left over from yesterday's project because it was that cut apart sheet that I did not use. It's also Wood Grain Wednesday, but this isn't the wood grain that I'm going to be using. Okay, and I will show you guys that in just a minute. I chose not to do any pocket cards because instead I've got this die, which I believe it came in a Pocket Life actual like package. So yes, it is 4 by 3. So it is my pocket card. All right, so I'm cheating right there. I'm not going to do mixed media because my papers are kind of busy and I don't want to mess up any of my wood grain. I also am not going to do a doily because, again, I just want to keep it just a little cluster within this frame. And I'm not doing shaker blisters this time. I am taking a break from the shaker blisters. I have, you know, I'm using them up. Shocker, but I am. I'm getting them all used up. I also, have my snake eyes this time. So it's wood veneer and washi. For my washi, I chose 2 wood grains. Not because it's Wood Grain Wednesday, but I have 2 wood grains. And then I have this kind of like tissue washi. I'm not really sure who it's from, to be honest. It also came with a butterfly one that looks exactly like this, but it has large, ginormous butterflies and lint all over it. And then for my wood veneer, I did find my little woodland creatures, so I'm going to use those. I also have a whole bunch of feathers, so 2 different styles of feathers. And then this is the wood grain that I will be using for my Wood Grain Wednesday. Okay, pretty simple little wood tree ring piece. So that's it. Those are my supplies. I also pulled in some of these scraps, and the reason why I pulled these in is to help with the washi if I need it. That's it. I want to back my washi with some paper because the sketch right here, I'm pulling inspiration from just this one piece. Now, I won't have anything in between my little frame. I'm going to leave it wide open. That way, when I put it on a page or when someone else puts it on a page, they can frame a photo, they can frame a journaling spot, they can put paper. I mean, who knows? They could tuck the whole thing underneath whatever their cluster may be. Who knows? So yeah, I'm going to leave it wide open, and then I've got a heart and a little thing, and that's it. I'm going to ignore that little, I don't know, hat. It's a banner, but it's going the wrong way. I'm ignoring that. I'm just doing, you know, just this one little piece, and that's it. I have no intention of doing anything else. And for my mood board, what did I take from my mood board? I actually took this one right here. So I've got little red boots, and she's stomping in a puddle, and the puddle is muddy. It's brownish, dirty yuck, okay? And so that is where I got my color scheme from. And actually, if I really, really, really look into it, I believe there's grass right here because it's green. And that's where I kind of pulled this from and where I got all of these pieces of paper. Okay, I know I'm really reaching for it, but that's what I want to do. Or that's where I got my color scheme from. Okay, so this is what I have. This is what I'm going to play with. I am going to go to my die cut machine and cut all of these out. And I have 13, well actually no, I have 12 of these, but then I have this tiny cute little, this little deer that's actually a little bit too big to go with a, oh my god, to go with a wood grain or a tree ring. And so this one's going to be all by its lonesome. Yep, it is. Okay, so that's it. There's not much to it this time. You know, it's going to be a frame, a little piece of washi, and then something to do with a tree ring and all the rest of my wood veneer that I have going on. Okay, let's see what I can do. Shall we? I'm going to be combining my feathers and these little ring wood grain discs. What are they called? Tree rings. That's what they're called. So I divided all of the feathers, you know, two feathers per tree ring, and then whatever tree rings were left, those ones are going to get put with the little animals. And I am taking a twine. This is my favoriteest twine in the whole wide world. I pick it up from Stampin' Up. It is called linen thread, by the way. And I just wrapped it around one of the feathers, and now unfortunately you can't see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. And then I put it through the whole of the tree ring so I can have it dangling. Of course, I did it wrong the first time, and now I'm doing it again. I want my feathers to be behind the tree ring instead of in front of. So I'm trying to figure out how to get both feathers to hang from the one hole without it just being like, you know, teeter-tottering in the hole. So I wrapped it around 3 times within the hole of the tree ring, and then wrapped it around the second feather to finish it off. And I did want a little tail hanging off from the feather. Now I'm only going to do 2 because maybe I thought that I would, you know, actually like record one better than the other. But I'm not going to make you guys watch me do all of these ones. I can't remember how many there are. I think there's 8 that I ended up doing, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much just it. I wrapped one feather, stuck it in the hole of the tree ring 3 times, and then wrapped the second feather. And I tried my hardest to get the string to be 2 different lengths. All right, so now I went and I picked some alcohol markers, and I'm coloring these little woodland creatures. Now, I believe I picked these up at Joann's, and as soon as I started coloring this deer, I realized I grabbed the wrong marker. This was the dark, and I didn't want the dark, I wanted the light. So I'm trying to squish up all the paint. I'm trying to do something to lighten it up, and it doesn't work. And then I have to go and find my lighter marker, which finding meaning I'm just gonna go to where I have my markers and grab the right one. It's not like it's lost. Also, the wood grain on this is so porous that the markers bleed. And so the colors are bleeding into each other, and it's just not a pretty sight. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, I just ruined this deer. I am a horrible person. But I still went with it. I still thought, you know what? I'm just using scraps. If I don't really like it, it'll be okay. That's it. I also went and got my color lifter. I was hoping that I could lighten up this deer some way, shape, or form. It just, I wasn't happy with it, you guys. I honestly wasn't. And then after I did the color lifting, which again still looks like it did nothing, I am going to take my white gel pen and color the little tail, because over here we have white-tailed deer. And then I started coloring my hedgehog with the wrong color. Uh-oh. And yeah, so I went ahead and I stopped immediately thinking, oh, I can save this. And I colored him with the right color, which is a better color. It would have been a better color for my deer as well. And I'm just backing the openings with scraps of paper, you guys. That's all I am doing. The hedgehog, I did kind of sort of not realize that I didn't get him all the way on the paper, but you didn't see it, and I apologize. The raccoon, I instantly thought I messed up on. Oh my goodness. So anyways, I color him up with this gray first, and then I go and I pull out my black. And my black bleeds into the gray. Look at his eyes. It's almost like he's crying. I was like, oh no, that's awful. Just keep going. Nobody will notice. Just keep going. He looks fine. Okay, maybe I can blend it up a little bit and blend it out, fade it away. Oh my God, he's crying. But I'm going to keep going, you guys. I'm going to ignore it, and I'm going to keep going. And now I have a deer and a raccoon tail glued to one piece of paper. I'm going to make this bunny gray. Our bunnies are brown. They're not very attractive, but I wanted a gray bunny. They're softer and cuter and yeah. So he's going to have a white fluffy tail. Now I am using my white Arteza gel pen to color in the white. And I am going to have a orange fox. I just think that they are adorable. And so I'm going to color the whole thing orange, and then the tip of his tail will be white. And then he'll also have little white paws. He is so cute. He happens to be my favorite, by the way. I don't know if it's because of the bright colors. I don't know if it's because by this time I've learned that the markers bleed. I'm not really sure. But he does end up becoming my favorite. And I do actually like how the markers bled into the white. And so his tail didn't have a stark line that says, "We stopped." So I like that as well. Yeah. And then what else did I do? Oh, I found another spot that I did not finish with the marker. To fix my bleed on the raccoon, I actually looked up what a raccoon looks like, and his face is very furry. Like he's got like this point on his nose and it's got like hair around it. I can't describe it. So I decided to stipple some of the white underneath his eyes and around his nose, because they have kind of like an off-white gray nose. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this and see how I like it. And then for the deer, to lighten it up a little bit, I stippled the deer and it was too white. So I'm just rubbing it in before it has a chance to dry. And now it becomes like this off-white. And I really liked that. I enjoyed how that turned out. So, and I do have to let the animals kind of dry before I can start fussy cutting around. It's not like a cut file where the glue instantly bonds. I do have to wait for it just a little bit. So I'm working on my hedgehog because he didn't have very much. And the eyes that I wanted to use fit in that little hole perfectly. So they're like little gems that I got from Close to My Heart 1.5 million years ago. And it fit in the little hole perfect. So I had to back it with paper. And then I thought that I was going to put this little nose on him. And I was like, it looks goofy, but I think he's cute. So I left the big old huge pale pink nose on him. And my bunny actually got a white nose. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had like a pink pen. And the pink one that I do have is actually a what's it called? A Jane Davenport pen. And it was like hot pink. I'm like, no. We're not doing hot pink. This is a pastel, pale pink. So I gave the deer that same little nose that I gave my hedgehog, and I put a gem on his eye as well. The bunny too. The bunny I just gave a white nose to and then put a gem on his eye. And I'm going to do the belly of the fox and set it off to dry. Then I'm going to work on my raccoon really quickly. And he gets white around his eyes as well. So, and I think that once I put that white paper down and had that white stippling, oh my gosh, look at him. He's my favorite now. Even though I messed up and I was like, he's crying. Now he is my favorite. Oh my goodness. He's adorable. The fox is still my favorite, but it's a tie between the raccoon and the fox, to be honest. I have to put pink in the fox's ears, and I also have to still put pink in the raccoon's ears. And then the fox, I totally forgot to put, absolutely forgot to put the paper behind his eyes because the gems are going to fall in between there too. So the fox was a little too heavy. So I dropped the pink paper, and I am going to set my fox off to dry because he is the last little bit. And when I went to try and go cut the fox, I didn't let him dry enough too. So that was a little tricky. So the raccoon, I'm going to leave his little ears to dry as I work on the other clusters. Oh, here's where I realized that I forgot to put paper behind his eyes because the gems are just going to fall right through. And I do like how the eyes, the gems in the eyes, they just go. I mean, they're perfect, and they were just the teeniest little size. I also put white on the fox's nose. And for my raccoon, I was going to give him the little nose as well, but it's round. And I thought, oh, no, I don't like that. I like his, he kind of like has a Superman nose where it's, you know, kind of triangular-ish, stop sign-ish. Well, not stop sign. What's that? A yield sign upside down type thing. And then when I give him black eyes, it's like it completes it. It's so cute. All right. On to my clusters. It's about time. All this prep work just to do a few little clusters. So I have all of my tree rings with all of my feathers. I absolutely love these, you guys. I could have just left them like as is and not did the frame at all. Added a tiny little word sticker and maybe a heart or a star and it'd be done. That's all I had to do. And those would have been done, but I did want to stick with the sketch and go ahead and use the frame. So I think that that's okay. And if I change my mind later, you know, I could always rip the frame off. Don't tell anybody I said that. So I am going to put my washi tape behind or on top of some paper and cut them all out. I don't make you guys watch me do all of them. I just left this one part in so you guys see how I did it. After a while, I got smart and used my trimmer to even cut it off instead of my scissors. Yep. I don't know what I was thinking. So here's my little deer. I did have this leftover piece from, I think, like 2 different projects. I used it on one and then used it on another, on a couple layouts that I used. And I had these this one scrap left. So, hey, let's use it up. Get her done. And so I basically am putting them behind the deer just like in the sketch. And then I also decided that it needed something else. And so I am going to use the word live in the moment. And the live in is going to go right above where his foot is lifted up. And then I'm going to glue the deer kind of sort of on it so that it doesn't look like a harsh stop. And then the moment will be over the deer. And I think that that helps cover up the darkness. And I do end up liking it once it's done. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's better. I mean, I think it covered up all the dark. And then I have a whole bunch of these little hearts left over from the frames themselves. It cut out a little heart, which I cover up most of it. I'm not a heart person, you guys. I apologize. But yes, I do end up covering it up. And I thought that I was going to find hearts and things like that, but no. And then this little hedgie, I was so excited to put him down that I almost forgot to put the washi tape. And after a while, I also forgot to use my my decal scissors to faux rip the edges of my washi tape. So some of these actually just get plain Jane edges. Yeah. Trying to figure out where to put the tree ring behind my adorable little fox. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I'm sorry. Calm down. It'll be okay. So, rinse and repeat. That's all I'm doing. It gets a washi. It gets a wood grain and possibly a cute little woodland creature. These are adorable, you guys, and I'm glad I ended up using these up. I wouldn't have used these creatures at all. I don't do these types of things on my layouts, but because I kind of sort of made them on the outdoorsy side, I think that now for my camping, I could use these for my camping. I could use these for, exploring the great outdoors layouts. Now it's like, oh my gosh, but alone, I would not have been able to use these little creatures. Not at all. But now that I've clustered them with, more outdoorsy type things, I love it. Okay. So, layering up these 2 pieces of wood, what do I have going on? Well, they're both very thin. So by the time that I layered them up, and I measured this, you guys, because I was worried about it too. By the time that I layered them up, they are only 1/8 of an inch. And that is about the same size as what most wood veneer is. The wood grain tree rings, or the tree rings and the feathers, they're actually like a balsa wood. And so they are very bendable, but I wouldn't bend them too much or they would break. But yes, they were definitely very bendy.
In fact, there was one point where I thought that I was going to break one of the feathers, wrapping it around the twine. So here's where I remembered my scissors. Go me. I don't know what made me think of them, but I did remember them. And these ones are all going to be rinse and repeat. It's just a different frame. I just left them all in there. Had one of my twines come apart on the feathers because I accidentally yanked it a little bit too hard when I was trying to put the tree ring down and tighten up the twine in the tree ring hole. Oh my gosh, that was a big explanation. Also with my poppy frames, I did end up adding a heart. I know it's like 10 frames too gone. I ended up adding a heart off to the side of the tree ring, and I thought it was a perfect touch. I apologize. I got interrupted by my puppies, and that gives me a great opportunity to talk on why my frames are pink on the back. And some of them are red and some of them are a different color. Why? Is because of the fact that this paper that I used was uber super thin, like so thin it would not have been able to handle the wood grain all by itself. So basically what I did was I ended up cutting out doubles of everything, and one set in cardstock and one set in the pattern papers I chose. And I backed them all completely off camera. It's really simple. You just line it up and glue it together. End of story. But I did like the stability of it once I did that. So here's my little panda. I waited to do him last because his ears needed to dry. And I just fussy cut out his ears really quickly, which is, again, really simple if you guys, because of the dimension of the wood grain, if you guys are worried about that, it was really super simple to cut all these little creatures out. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Okay, that one's my fave, and the fox. Oh my gosh. So one last one that I have to do, I think, really quickly, or am I going to do, I'm going to do them all on the other side. So I decided to record these as well because now I have all my tree rings on the right, whereas before I did them all on the left. And this way I can kind of have a little bit of variation depending on, what side of my layout it's going to be on and things like that. So you guys, I love these. I absolutely love these. And I love the little touch of the red heart. So, and the red heart again came from that cardstock, excuse me, that I used to back my pattern paper because it was just too thin. So that's where I got those. I do have all the other hearts from the other colors and things like that, but I think I'm going to end up tossing those. I'm sorry. I think I ended up tossing those because of the fact that they're just multicolored, and it's like, oh, I don't like those. Plus I have a hard time using hearts as it is. Yes, I do. Have I been cutting my... Yes, I do. I've been cutting my my washi tape with my my decal scissors just to make it look like I ripped them. I wished I would have done that to all of them, you guys. It's such a subtle little touch, but it's subtle enough to where it actually looks good. So here, I forgot that I needed to back one more, and I actually just hand cut this one out, and so I didn't cut the heart out, but I do like this one. This one ends up being, one of my favorites, and I almost went back and thought, oh, should I do this with all of them? But I changed my mind. I did not do this with all of them. So basically what I'm going to do, because I have that little heart, is I'm going to take this word chipboard, and I'm going to put it onto my tree ring. And yes, I love this one as well, you guys. Again, I debated on whether or not I should have done this with all of them, but my chipboard words are starting to get either really long or really big, and so I did not have that opportunity to do that with any of the others. Plus, I like them plain because now when they're added to a layout, they can be personalized at a later date. So anyways, that is it. Thank you so very, very, very much for watching. I don't know why I've been getting into that habit of saying very so many times. I apologize. There's my little raccoon. He's not a panda. It's a raccoon. Oh my gosh. I just love these. I'm so glad that I took the plunge and just used them up and got them done. Thank you so much for watching, and I will check y'all tomorrow. Bye.